Initiating podcast download. Prepare yourself. Put on your spandex. Lace up your boots. Wrap your wrists. Hide your razor blade. Head to gorilla position. Grease up your hair. Apply baby oil. Okay, apply more baby oil. Get into gimmick. Keep your ears open and your mouth shut. Have fun and be safe out there, brother. Welcome to Iron on Wrestling. Now your host, Gregory Iron.
Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Iron on Wrestling with Gregory Iron. I'm your host, Gregory Iron, and this is episode 231. Oh, what fun it is to ride on this 2023 Turkey Day. Hey, it's Thanksgiving Eve. If you're listening to this podcast the day that it dropped, hello to all. Hope you're having a wonderful Thanksgiving. I'm joining you once again for the Thanksgiving tradition known as Iron on Wrestling with my producer, Sean Flash Robbins. Hello.
Hello.
Good to see you.
It's good to see you too.
Are you excited about eating turkey?
Well, I don't eat turkey.
Oh, that's right. You're a vegan. What's a vegan Thanksgiving look like? Do you have a fake turkey?
Yes.
Tofu turkey?
I don't know what it's made of, actually. Probably some kind of soy thing. I don't know. And also, stuffing if you make it with, like, vegetable broth and stuff, depending on what brand, unless you're, like, one of those people who makes it literally from scratch. But
Yeah.
I don't know any of those people. I think they're all dead.
Do you miss turkey?
No. It was my least favorite meat.
Okay, now let's pretend that we're going to edit this next part out. Tell me the truth. You miss turkey, don't you? You think about it every day.
Well, not every day. No, I don't miss turkey. I don't miss meat at all. I don't really ever think about how I don't really like eating dead animals. It's gross. So.
When did this start?
About 2 years ago.
Okay. What made you change?
Actually, you know how everybody knows about, like, the dairy farmers and how they treat the animals and, like, factory farms and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, I am one of the people who just kind of was just like, well, I don't know, But then actually seeing the stuff happening to the animals,
Yeah.
and hearing them scream or like stuff like that, and like I watched Joaquin Phoenix's documentary from 2005 called Earthlings, and you're like, Jesus Christ, dude, I can't contribute to that.
Yeah.
So that's really why I just don't. If you don't have to make an animal suffer in order to eat and to get the things that you need, then I just won't. Now, I'm not saying that I'm judging you for eating meat and stuff like that. And
I feel like you're judging me.
That's the reason it's hard to talk about. Because no matter what, if someone asks you why you're vegan and you're like, well, I just don't like hurting animals, then it makes it seem like I'm saying that you do hurt animals and yet you don't give a shit.
I'm not personally hurting the animals.
I don't care.
So
You're still a bad person.
Okay. Wow. All right. Well, we're not going to get into this topic because I do agree with you. We probably shouldn't be hurting animals, the delicious animals that I love to eat. I wish that I had the strength to stop eating those animals, but I got to tell you, if this gobbledygooker right here was real, I'd eat it right now. All right? Yeah, I'm a big fan of eating Hector Guerrero. What of it?
You should clip that.
Should I?
Yeah.
Listen, and that's not like me wanting to like eat Latinos specifically or anything like that, so please don't make this into me being like a weird Latino eater.
In fairness, I don't think anybody would have thought about that, but I think everybody's thinking about it now.
Damn it, I made it worse. Okay, well, we're just going to move on from that then. So, hey.
Latino eat.
Okay, Latino meat.
Oh, that was even better.
Yeah. We're to answer some questions from social media and specifically Discord first and foremost, because if you're on patreon.com/Iron on Wrestling, you get your questions answered first That's why it's important to be there. But it's also important to be on Patreon because that's where the podcast is moving to. If you like listening to the podcast for free on iTunes, wherever you download podcasts, you still can. You just have to subscribe to Patreon because, listen, I'm getting burnt out. I've been doing this for 4 years, okay? And I want to be able to be a little bit flexible with the show, but also if I'm just feeling compelled on like a Thursday night or a Friday night or a Saturday and Sunday just to record a little something audio-wise for free and upload it for you guys, I can. So cut me some slack here. Go to patreon.com/Iron Wrestling. Sign up for the free tier. But if you're feeling froggy, or in this case, turkey, go to Patreon and sign up for one of the paid tiers. $3 gets you all the back audio in the catalog. $5 gets you all the bonus video, including some behind-the-scenes footage from some of the videos for the shorts that we're doing now. $9 is the preferred tier, where you get to be involved in the Zoom chat that we do once a month, and we'll probably do one before the end of November here, checking on you guys after Thanksgiving, see how you're feeling. So definitely check out the $9 tier. The $25 and up tier, that's going to get you the Animal Steel package that we're sending out next month. So if you want to get that, you have to sign up for this month and next month for sure, and do it now, because if you don't, you're just not going to get a package. Because, spoiler, I already got all the packages packed, and I don't really have any extras, so I'm going to have to buy more stuff for the package. So maybe you should sign up now. Patreon.com/Iron on Wrestling. You can even record in the studio with me, which now, because we're doing free podcast content, that includes doing these little shorts that I'm doing for YouTube. So make sure you subscribe to YouTube. Just search Iron on Wrestling. That's my rambling about that. So we're going to do questions today. Maybe we'll preview Survivor Series. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about AEW that happened this past weekend. And, of course, we're going to talk about my weekend in wrestling. Sean, how was your weekend?
Well, my weekend was pretty good. But real quick, I thought of two questions while you were talking. Okay. One, I kind of was in and out. All right. So you were saying, how much does it cost to get in your shorts?
My shorts? Okay. I'm talking about the video shorts on YouTube.
Okay, we'll make a video of it. I don't give a shit. How much?
Okay. Well,
the other question was, you said you've been doing this for 4 years, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that if you took, okay, so like Barack Obama, with all these presidents, when we see the photo of them the first day they were president, and then after their term was over, and you're like, wow, look how old that job is, stressful.
Yeah.
Do you think if we looked at a photo of you from 4 years ago and a photo of you from now, that it would be the same? Or do you think it would be like Trump, where Trump doesn't look older, we're older?
I've definitely aged since the start of the show. If you look back at the original promo pics where like I'm with an ironing board down in the basement, which now is my gym, in the laundry room, definitely very little gray hair. I've gotten very gray since I've started doing the podcast.
And it's because of the podcast.
I would say that the podcast has contributed to it. Like, stress, but like also fun and hilarity. So you gotta take the good with the bad. I've made a lot of great friends through the podcast, and I think we've influenced a lot of lives in a positive way. Yours included. I mean, listen, we had a friendship going back to when you would come to the Pro Wrestling Ohio shows, but do you think we would have this tight, close, personal, emotional bond that we have right now if it wasn't for you being on the Patreon?
There's literally no way. If I wasn't a Patreon subscriber, then I don't think I would even be on the show.
You'd basically be dead to me.
And I would be dead in general.
So yeah, you'd be dead in a ditch somewhere.
Patreon, being your Patreon subscriber, being your patron, as they call it, saved my life.
They would still be looking for your corpse.
They would, and they'd never find it.
And it wouldn't be my fault.
No.
Because I'm strictly worried about Latino meat and not that of the Caucasian variety.
Yeah. Wow.
Not a white meat guy.
Which is fine.
Like that darker meat.
You heard it here first, folks.
Okay. So we answered both your questions?
Yes, you did. And as far as my weekend went, it was all right. The best part about it was actually watching the AEW pay-per-view, which, even though, like I've said before, a couple weeks ago, that AEW isn't like what it was before for me. The pay-per-views are never bad.
Yeah.
I enjoy. I mean, besides the one where like Matt Hardy almost died,
that was
I
rough.
enjoyed pretty much all of them.
Yeah. I want to talk about AEW Full Gear from what I saw of it. But can we talk about this thing right next to me here?
What? I saw that. Is that some kind of giant cup or what is that?
Well, I'm thinking about maybe making it into a gravy bowl for Thanksgiving. But what this is, it's the Elio DiPaolo Cup.
Wow.
I won this thing this past weekend at Empire State Wrestling in New York. I defeated 5 other men. And do you know who the final man was that I pinned to win this thing?
Was it Carlito?
No.
Was it his old tag team partner?
Could be. Goes by the name The Masterpiece. Chris Masters or Chris Adonis. He's a current NWA champion as well, I do believe. Not only did I pin him to win this bad boy right here, but I basically broke the master lock. I mean, okay, so he didn't lock it in fully, but he went to lock it in, and I went cacao, sat out, rolled him up, a 1, 2, 3, beat him. So, I mean, technically speaking, it's like I'm basically Bobby Lashley.
Wow. I knew it. The moment I met you IRL, I was like, isn't that Bobby Lashley?
I get that a lot, actually. Like, I'll be at the gimmick table, and they'll be walking by, and they'll walk by, and they'll go, Bobby I'm like, no, Gregory Iron. Gregory Iron.
Even better.
They're like, oh, like, because, like, you're tan. I thought Bobby and I said, no, I'm not.
That's not why I thought it.
I'm not the Lash Man.
I thought it was because of that big hog you got there.
Okay. I don't know the size of Bobby Lashley's genitalia. I imagine he's packing, but I haven't really, paid too much attention to it.
Well, you should, because it is a delight.
Okay. Well, anyways, I won this giant cup, and pretty proud moment in my life. And, it's funny. I sent a picture of me with the cup to Johnny Gargano. He was actually in the very first Elio DiPaolo Scramble Memorial Cup match back in like 2013. Okay, he lost to Trent Beretta, and but he said, being an a-hole about it, he said, "You finished the DiPaolo Cup story," and I said, "LOL." But then I got to thinking. I texted him back. I go, well, technically last year this was my final match before I took a break. I lost that match, and then I took a break mostly because my dad had cancer, and just it was sort of lining up with him dying, and then he died, and then I was debating not even coming back to wrestling at all. And I didn't go into this weekend thinking I was going to win this cup. And so when I sent him that text back, I said, oh, I'm getting surprisingly emotional now. Fuck you. Because I was like, oh God, I guess I don't know. You can't write things like these, but yeah. I mean, it was a good feeling, And afterwards, before I left, Brett, the promoter, was like, you deserve this, and you worked hard, and the crowd loves you, and they've wanted me to be a bad guy for a while, and I've been trying to be a bad guy, and they just don't want to hate me. Maybe it's the fact that they've become emotionally invested in me in the 10-ish years that I've been there, especially when I did my stuff with RJ City. But, it doesn't help that I started coming out to Higher by Creed. I thought that was definitely going to be a, they're going to boo me now because everybody hates Creed. But what I didn't think about is, no, wrestling fans love Creed.
Yeah, wrestling fans are the lifeblood of Creed.
It's fandom. Real people that hate Creed. Yeah. So I'm like, I just made them...
Not these cretins.
I just endeared them more to me. So I'm so thankful for the opportunity, ESW, winning this cup. Chris Masters, not a sore loser. I appreciate that. But basically, sometime in the next year, I get an opportunity at the Empire State Wrestling Heavyweight Championship anytime I want. So that's what this trophy means, and I'm pretty pumped about it. And I don't know, it's sort of it's a little spark, in me.
That's awesome. Hey, yeah. Question about that. So you say anytime you want. Is it like a Money in the Bank situation where you could just come out and after a match and be like, I want my title match right now?
I could do that. Yep, that's a thing that I could do. So we'll see what my strategy looks like going into 2024. So stick around, check it out. It's going to be interesting to say the least. So that was my weekend. Also, I read some children's wrestling books.
I saw that
at the Heights Library. Coincidentally, the same library that my girlfriend works at. It's almost like she organized that or something. It's crazy. It's for an event called The People in Your Neighborhood, where various people over the course of the last 2 or 3 months have come in, I think every other weekend, and read stories that involve their job. And I was the main event attraction. I was the headliner for this 2 to 3 month event, and it was nice. You know, a couple dozen kids came out, read them a couple stories. Though she helped me with it, I don't appreciate that the second book that she made me read was Nino Wrestles the World, which was a Spanish book. And I don't know if you know this, but I don't speak fluent Spanish, Sean.
No, you've got the taste for the Latino meat. But
yes.
You still don't want to read their language, huh?
I sat next to a kid from Argentina in high school, and I definitely cheated off him every single week. So thank you, Eric Aguiar, for getting me through Spanish. Appreciate that. I would still be in high school to this day if it wasn't for those credits that you helped me get. Embarrassing, me trying to read Spanish. Luckily, Hannah took a little pencil, so as I was reading, she sort of like sounded it out like how you're supposed to say it as you're reading, and it sort of helped me a little bit, and we got through it. The kids enjoyed it. Luckily, you know, there was no kid like older than 4, so they weren't able to call me out and be like, yeah, Mr. Iron, that's not how you read Spanish.
That was supposed to be the feminine version of that word, and you did the masculine version of that word.
Yeah.
Boo.
Yeah. So it went well, and so, you know, if you want to book me for your event or some sort of speaking engagement, I am readily available, ready to go. Just DM me on my social media or email me at gregory_iron@yahoo.com. I'm rip raring to go. Okay, so it's pretty much my weekend.
Sounds like quite the eventful weekend.
It was, of all the weekends I've had, I would say, yeah, I'll go on a limb and say it was one of them for sure. But Jesus Christ, I'm hitting my mic here. We should probably go to a commercial break. When we come back, we'll talk some AEW, we'll talk some Survivor Series stuff towards the end of the show. But in the middle there, we're going to answer your questions from social media and from the Discord when we come back. Hey Aaron, why are you wearing this shirt?
I went through my closet and I could not find one really good shirt with a good shirt design. But if I had a shirt that I could pick any shirt in the whole world that I would wear a shirt that had maybe this band, Metallica, but I want the drummer and the bass player on a cloud in heaven.
Yeah.
Because their granddaddy passed away.
Okay.
And then on this cloud, there's a second cloud. And it's James Hetfield and Matt Justice. And they have fishing poles. They've been fishing. I would have to find someone that could design that kind of a shirt.
You know, if you do need a better t-shirt design, you should probably contact Juan Ortiz and Up the Dead Designs. He's a good buddy. He's been in the industry for over 15 years, and he's made some t-shirt designs for the most prolific people within professional wrestling.
Ellsworth?
No, he has not made designs for Team But he has made designs for Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, Seth Rollins, Undertaker. He's even made shirts and stuff for Iron Wrestling. Check out this sweet logo. Hey, Sean, edit in that picture of our new logo with Aaron and myself on clouds with fishing poles. If you need a t-shirt design, a logo for your small business or your big business, or if you want to win over a girl, I've never done that before. If you mention Iron on Wrestling sent you, and you follow his new social media at Of the Dead Designs on Instagram, he's gonna knock off $20 in his already cheap prices. Go to Of the Dead Designs on Instagram.
Weebly.
Go to his Facebook at facebook.com/Of the Dead Designs, or go to his website ofthedead.weebly.com, because Of the Dead Designs is bringing your artwork to life. And we're back, and you know, the rumor is that there was an AEW pay-per-view this past weekend. Can you confirm or deny that, Sean?
I heard that rumor too. Hold on, let me look it up real quick.
Okay.
That's the typing sound.
Okay.
Oh yeah, AEW Full Gear 2023.
Got you. I watched a little bit of that show, only because I heard that people were raving about Hangman Page versus Swerve Strickland. Apparently, some were calling it the best death match ever. And I was like, wait, death match?
Yeah.
How serious are we getting here? And so, of course, instead of ordering the pay-per-view, I searched YouTube and found the full match before it was taken down. And I would confirm that it is a great match. I don't know if it's the best death match of all time, but you know what? I've never been crazy about Hangman Page, but he raised his stock a little bit after watching this match. I thought there was some innovative stuff in this match. I thought they told a good story, and I thoroughly enjoy it. I think Shane Strickland is a star. I've thought that for a while. I think his presentation in AEW, for the most part, a lot of the guys that go from WWE to AEW, their presentation kind of goes down a little bit, right? But I think Swerve has done nothing but go up, and I think he's got the potential to be a main event guy very, very soon. And I just, if I had to be nitpicky, and I told you this before we started recording, the only thing that I would change about the storytelling in this match, and if you haven't watched this, just go out of your way to find this. It's not on YouTube anymore, so order the pay-per-view. And there was a part in the match where Hangman was stapling Shane, and he had his hands duct taped. At some point, Shane gave him a kick to the groin, and Prince Nana cut him out of the duct tape. After he did that, Hangman kept trying to hit him with the stapler, and Shane started kind of hulking up, no-selling it. And instead of just, punching him in the face like a babyface should, or just trying to take him down, Hangman just kept being kind of shocked and trying to put staples on him, and then Shane sort of fired up on him. And the crowd likes Shane. They're starting to like Shane, and he's a heel, obviously. So I don't know why this was a spot for Strickland to get a babyface pop in. Other than that, I think it was a pretty well executed match. And I don't know about you, but the blood drinking spot, that was delightful. I can't think of anything better than just drinking, consuming one's blood.
Well, so like
good.
A couple weeks ago when they did the part where the little vignette or whatever, I don't know, the little backstage, not even backstage, but the little thing where they had Swerve go into Hangman's house and take his son's finger painting off the fridge and throw a T-shirt on him, I think is what he did. The following week, Hangman was just in a regular match, and it was like as if a man didn't just break into his house. Yeah. And a lot of people were complaining, like, well, that's a little weird, some guy breaks into your house and goes into your son's room, and you're just like, well, I've got a match next week. I'm gonna go do this wrestling match. And then it's like, as if like he heard that and was like, oh shit, I'm gonna go really crazy then. I'm gonna fucking drink this guy's blood. Yeah. Because when he ran out, he didn't even do his entrance. He just ran to the ring and started beating the shit out of Swerve, and then he immediately hit him with his finisher, and then he duct taped his arms. Like, that's all in the the blood drinking thing was in the first 10 minutes of the match. It was pretty quickly, and also I'm glad you brought up the finisher at the beginning, because when you do a finisher at the beginning of the match, it's a bold maneuver, because you could sometimes only go down from there, right? Like the match that I always think of that doing the finishers or finish in the beginning and it sort of backfired, because it's the most prominent example I can give you. And it didn't help that they had a super hot match earlier in the show, arguably one of the greatest matches in WWE history, when they did Triple H versus Randy Orton at WrestleMania 25. Big grudge match going in the show. Probably should have been some sort of no disqualification, no holds barred stipulation, but it wasn't. Yeah. In fact, I think there was some weird stip that if Triple H got disqualified, he'd lose the championship, which I don't know if that should have been a thing in the main event of WrestleMania. They both did their finishers, the RKO and the pedigree, within seconds of the match, and they were just kind of down. And it was like, I remember when it happened, I was like, what do you do now? Oh my God, this is the first few seconds of the match. Yeah. You go back to, arguably one of the best matches in WWE history, like WrestleMania 17. You have that 90-second stretch in the beginning of Rock and Austin that's just
incredible. Like on the edge of your seat where they're like going back and forth with stuff, like brawling, beating each other's asses. They tease the finishes, but they don't hit them. So it's like when you hit a finish or finishers in the beginning, boy, you better be telling a good story after that, because that's what you're waiting for in a match psychology-wise, is that big move. So if you get it early on, yikes, a lot to live up to after that. But I think Strickland and Hangman did a great job, and props to those guys. I'm a little bit more emotionally invested in Page going forward, and like I said, Strickland, I think he could be the top dog by the end of 2024 for sure.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I mean, I don't know, it's hard because I think it's with all, you know that they have this devil thing, but there's like a lot of people online that are like, I want Swerve to be the devil. And normally people aren't saying who they want to be the devil. They're just saying who they think is the devil or who they think should be the devil. But people are like, man, I really want Swerve to be the devil. And I think the reason they want that is because they want him to be the next champion.
Yes, but I don't think they're thinking long term, and they're thinking of the backstory of previous stuff with Swerve, because he's already been in a couple stables that have failed. I don't think he needs that. Right. His team with Keith Lee led to nothing. They didn't even get a blow-off match. So I think people are being short-sighted when they're going, I want him to be the devil, only because they want him to be the champion.
Right.
Like,
it's just because of that match, they're like, look, I want to do exactly. They just want to do the
there's going to be no benefit with him being in another stable. He does not need that. And, I don't know who the devil's going to be. I'm curious to see where they go with it, but they're really dragging it out. I thought maybe this would be revealed on the Full Gear pay-per-view, but if I had to guess, it might be revealed at the next pay-per-view because it's called World's End.
Yeah, that's what I've ever since they announced World's End, I've thought it probably would be when they reveal the devil. But that World's End pay-per-view, I don't mind the pay-per-view existing and stuff. I hate the name because it's not World 'S End. It's like all the worlds are ending the way they have it spelled, like World's End. Yeah, they do.
Yeah, I didn't notice that actually.
And like every time when I see it, I'm like, God damn it, you guys! You make wrestling fans look so stupid because we are accepting this.
Grammar is important, okay?
And this and marketing and stuff, I think it is.
Yes. No, I'm not disagreeing. What else did I watch in this AEW pay-per-view? I watched Edge and Sting and Darby Allin. Mm-hmm. Darby Allin is an insane person. I mean, I knew this on the indies when I was on shows with him, but he just confirms it month after month with what he does on these pay-per-views and on free TV for that matter. I mean, just the fact that, at one point they talked about how he took the choke slam from Luchasaurus on the ring apron to the floor and he looked like he died. And they're like, well, he's going to fly on a plane to go climb Mount Everest tomorrow. And I was like, why would you even risk that?
Right. He did it. And when Luchasaurus did that choke slam, it was like right in front of Ric Flair. And I was thinking, like, I wonder what Ric Flair thinks of that. Or like Darby in general. Like, this isn't the kind of stuff he does. Yeah,
well, at one point when Nick Wayne was like mocking Ric Flair was kind of smirking. I had that exact thought. I'm like, wonder what does Ric Flair look at Nick Wayne and think like, the business has evolved. Like, this is a wrestler right here. Which, like, I'm not disrespecting Nick Wayne, like, but he doesn't look like the mold of what Ric Flair probably thinks a wrestler should be. So I just find that very interesting. I will say this though, man, I love Christian. He's incredible. He's doing a great job. I loved his entrance for the show with like little kids who I can only imagine are fatherless, singing his entrance theme to the ring, and I just love the whole presentation. I think Sting, Edge, and Darby ended up winning this match. I don't think Sting is going to lose any of these matches. He's undefeated, but I could see him losing his final match to someone. But that makes me think long term. Well, what is this final match going to be? And if he's going to lose it, which in my opinion, why not go out on your back? Who would you lose to? But also there's a part of me that thinks like, Tony Khan seems to have like a lot of respect for Sting. And I feel like Tony Khan probably believes that it would be the respectful thing to do, just let Sting leave undefeated. And I don't know. I don't think it's either way is right or wrong per se, but I would like to see Sting do the honors for someone that perhaps maybe long term it could push them to the next level. Is that not like someone like Undertaker losing the streak to Brock, which did nothing for no one, but I don't know who that individual would be.
Yeah, I don't know either. I haven't really thought about it because I originally thought it would be Darby, but really what would be the reason for that?
There's no good reason for that.
Because if you were, I don't know. It's a tough one, man.
Maybe you do Shane Strickland and Sting. I know they already did the thing at Wembley, but I could see them doing a one-on-one match. But you know what? We'll probably just get Ric Flair and Sting. Ric Flair's last match. That's what I want to see. He took a bump in that 6-man.
I know.
Man is unhinged.
Yeah, I as a person who hates him, I loved when Christian hit him in the cock and balls.
Yeah.
That was great.
Well, taste of his own medicine.
That's true.
I wonder how much Woo Energy he sold last night, or at Full Gear rather.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't talk about that at the scrum.
I want the statistics of every sale.
Yeah.
I want to know the price point for a can of Woo Energy.
And I'd like to see a review of everybody who drank it and see what they thought of it. Did they give it a woo or did they give it a boo?
I bet you it's a $5 a can at a live event.
That seems like a accurate amount, I think.
Which, by the way, if you want to see my opinion on Woo Energy, you can check out the Woo or Boo video that me and Eddie only did right here on YouTube. It's a nice little watch. What else did we watch from the AEW show? What was in that opening? Let's see, the women's match, right?
Yes, Toni Storm versus Hikaru Shida.
I love Toni Storm. I think her character is incredible.
Yeah.
The finish was almost kind of botched. It was funny because she had the pan gimmick in her ass cheek, and she went to go running, and Chick was like coming out of the corner a little bit, so she like stopped, and then she went back, and then she pushed up the.
She did make it funny though.
She did make it funny.
Yeah.
She covered it, which was fine, but with wrestler brain, I was like, okay, she's like, oh, she's out of position. So like, let me stop and go back and just make it look like she covered it well. And you did the bump up in the butt bump hip attack. Is that what she calls it?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Whatever. And she hit her with the pan in the face. It wasn't the best match I've ever seen out of Toni Storm, but like the character work is what matters to me. Mm-hmm. And I do feel like, kind of going off on a tangent here, like even though AEW product-wise has been sort of hit or miss for me, I do feel like their character work has been better over the last 6 to 9 months. Like
they've been doing better with that.
Little things like Roderick Strong, always been a great wrestler, but character-wise, blah for me, right?
Sure,
and I
he's
think
basic,
yes, like I think him with a neck brace and the Atom stuff, like it's funny. Like him being like a little annoying coward, very endearing. Like I remember when he came into NXT, and he was just like Roderick Strong, and I have a wife. I was like, what a character.
Right.
Yep. He's married and he has a kid.
Yeah.
That's cool. And that only got him so far, and then they turned him heel and he joined an Undisputed Era, and like then that sort of helped him, right? And it made sense because it was like a little Ring of Honor stable.
Yeah.
But again, character-wise, I'm like,
You know what I think kind of about him, like in his current state? I mean, obviously I don't mean this as a one-to-one comparison, but you've always heard wrestlers like Chris Jericho, for example, say that Dean Malenko was very funny and has this dry sense of humor and how he's hilarious, but he just doesn't do it on screen. Well, that's basically like what this is kind of like. Roderick Strong is similar to that, and this time we actually get to see him be funny on screen.
Yes, and Roddy's great to be in the locker room with. And, for years they said the same thing about Brad Armstrong. Brad Armstrong, one of the greatest of all time. If you've never watched Brad Armstrong matches, if you're like a huge wrestling fan, you somehow missed out on Brad Armstrong, or if you're a wrestler that's growing in the industry and you want to learn some psychology, go back and watch Brad Armstrong, because he's arguably the most underrated to ever do it. They always said like his charisma, his hilarity was, unmatched. His brother is Road Dogg, and he's hilarious. Mm-hmm. But Road Dogg was able to convey that on camera. Not the worker that Brad was, and the dog will tell you that himself. But I wish Brad could have showed a little bit more of that on screen. But I'm just glad that Roddy found his character now, and it's working for him. And I'm interested to see where it goes. Of course, now I'm not going to be able to think of the other intriguing characters that have really come into their own over the last 6 to 9 months. But I just think in general the character work has been much better. I just wish there was more consistency on the show. Mm-hmm. But like even like the Sky Blue turn, I find a little bit intriguing. Yeah. It's like spicing her up a little bit.
Oh, that's a good point. Julia Hart, she's one of these characters that's been doing the good, really growing and stuff.
Yes, her being in the House of Black has really helped. And from what I saw from the show, I didn't get to watch the main event with MJF, but I saw some clips. A lot of people were sort of torn about the angle with Adam Cole, like maybe taking a spot in the main event and then MJF showing up from the hospital. Look, man, I think sometimes, the smart marks, they really focus on the bell-to-bell way too much. I kind of like, I don't know if I would have made this thread such a big deal on a pay-per-view. Probably could have saved some time. I think you could have did the same thing and kept it shorter, because then we had an on-ramp segment with Adam Cole and Jay White, and just maybe a little too much. Yeah. But I do like that there's a thread throughout the program leading to something where MJF comes back. Yes. And very reminiscent of, they did something similar with the leg injury. Much differently, though, with Hulk Hogan back at Clash of the Champions in 1994 against Ric Flair. He got hit in the back of the leg with a lead pipe, which was very reminiscent of, do you remember Tanya Harding, Nancy Kerrigan? Yes. Okay, so they basically just stole that in 1994, and Hogan went to the hospital. They said he wasn't going to be able to compete, and then he walked back from the hospital and still competing in the match and still defeated Ric Flair. Yeah. And but I don't know. I like that they created a thread throughout the show. I can only assume that Max sold his leg well. I don't know for sure because I didn't watch it. But the spots that I saw, just he's busting out shit as a babyface that he never did as a heel, which I can appreciate. Specifically, I saw him doing that running cutter.
I was just about to bring it up because I was like, did you see that? Yeah, that was, I never seen anything like that before.
That was crazy. Yeah. So all in all, proud of Max. Glad that they did something to keep people's interest during the pay-per-view. And if you didn't like that, I don't know, you're an idiot.
Well, I did like it. Okay, I mean, for the reasons that you liked it, but there was things that make no sense, man. Okay, why would Max is injured but has a leg injury, he can't do this match, but Adam Cole can when he has a leg injury?
I don't agree. I don't disagree with that.
That doesn't make any sense. Also, they famously, if a champion can't defend the title, they have the interim championship, and they don't just hand it to the guy.
That's also true.
Now, I don't really care about this stuff because wrestling is fun. Yeah. Okay, but I do get it is a plot hole, but it's who gives a shit?
Consistency.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And hey, they're trying. That's cool to do a storyline like that, like you said, threaded throughout there, maybe a little too much, but hey, it's different than what they normally do.
And let's treat it like a shoot, right? Like if Max was really injured, you would probably just put someone else in that spot in the main event, maybe not for the championship, and then you would sort of regroup and do something on Dynamite and figure out, well, going forward, Max is going to be hurt or whatever, you know what I mean? Or, you can be like, well, let's see if Max can make it back by the end of the night or something. You wouldn't just go like, let's put this other injured guy in the match. That seems like a great idea.
I think what they were trying to do, and this is why I don't really think too much about it in a bad way, is I think they were just trying to put out in your head that MJF was going to win, because you already are like, there's no way MJF's losing that belt. Yes. So now, I mean, I'm not even kidding. There was a couple times where I was like, I think MJF might lose, because I feel like Adam Cole might turn on him in this match. He was sort of accidentally sabotaging him a couple times in this match. Okay. Like he had the diamond ring, he set it down, but then Jay White got it. Yeah. He was going to hit Jay White with his belt, but then Jay White grabbed it out of his hands and hit MJF with it. Okay. So and it was like, this is weird. Sure. Is he doing this on purpose? But no, he wasn't, But I did sort of doubt MJF would win. I mean, when you're watching the match, it's different. Yeah. But I going into the show with the pre-show, the way that they did it was that match or when MJF got injured was literally how they closed out the pre-show. And him going in the ambulance and be like, Adam, don't let them take my title. And he was like, I won't. And then it's over. Well, that's if I didn't order it already, I probably would have been like, shit, I want to see what happens now.
Yeah, that's what it's like what they used to do with Sunday Night Heat. Like Sunday Night Heat used to be a great way during the Attitude Era to where like they would make those episodes of Heat really compelling going into the pay-per-view, like, oh shit, like I gotta order this. Like Mr. McMahon has just sent Stone Cold to the hospital. Like what is he gonna be back in time for the Rumble or whatever they would do? Like
he's who I wanted to win.
Yeah, so good shit. That's pretty much all I saw from the show, but maybe I'll watch a little bit more of it. I don't know. What did you guys think of AEW Full Gear? Comment below. Should I watch the whole show? Are you digging the storylines? Do you enjoy the character work? Leave those comments below.
Yeah, and I think comment below if you think there was a better death match than the Hangman versus Swerve death match, or if you do think it was good.
Well, I'm going to say that the death match in CZW back in 2007 with Nick Gage was much better, actually. I don't know.
That's what I'm predicting is going to happen. Someone's going to be like that.
Was that a good nerd impression?
Well, you already have the glasses, so yeah.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're set up, ready to go.
What was I going to say? Want to answer some questions from social media?
Sure, you want me to ask you the Facebook ones first?
Yeah, let's go. Well, go to Facebook, because I know there's some guys on the Patreon that will be able to answer from over there, too, that was answering on Facebook. Because for some reason, none of them were putting their questions in the Discord like they're supposed to, but that's okay, because we still got them, and we're going to answer your questions right now. Let's go.
All right. Do you want me to read the name of the people asking them, too? Like a radio show?
Yes, please.
All right. Juan Ortiz.
I know that guy. He's a good buddy.
He asks, if you had to wrestle one of your brothers or Aaron in a WWE-style gravy bowl match, who would be the easiest to beat and who would be the toughest?
Wow. Well, I guess, I have 3 brothers. Mike, who's a police officer, Zach, who's a professional wrestler, and Sean, who I think he works in a coal mine still down in West Virginia, but also avid weightlifter. All of those things seem really challenging, especially because my brother Mike has a gun. And I feel like he would probably be carrying during the gravy bowl match, so that's unfair. Aaron has gotten in much better shape, but he is currently injured. And though I wish him the best in his recovery, I feel like competing against an injured man would probably be my best bet. Also considering that he has a leg injury, he'll probably slip in the gravy bowl, worsen that injury, and I can then pin him and remove his top to get the victory.
Okay. I mean, I think your brother Sean probably has black lung, and that would also be an advantage for you. I think of them, but I do think of your brother Sean as a coal mining gimmick, and your brother Mike as a cop gimmick like Big Boss Man, and not actually those jobs.
Yes.
So, but I do think that you probably made the right choice.
I think so.
All right. Bobby Bags asks, describe the perfect Thanksgiving meal. Why do you think you have yet to be approached to appear as the Gregory Gooker?
Okay. Let's do the last part first, because I don't know if the Gregory Gooker is something that people are clamoring for. I do think it's probably something that I would do on an indie show. I did used to have a turkey costume, but I got rid of it. Mostly because it was just getting hard to transport from house to house. I know that sounds ridiculous, but I just kind of got sick of it. I would wear it every year when I worked at Murray Ridge with those with developmental disabilities as like a joke every Thanksgiving. And then just, the costume is getting a little beat up. But, maybe the Gregory Gooker can be a thing down the line. I wouldn't have any fear of being eaten because I don't have that Latino meat, so I think I'll be good. But as far as the first question, the perfect Thanksgiving meal, I'm pretty basic. I want some turkey, and I want it to be juicy. I want some stuffing, and I want it to be stovetop. I'm okay with that. I want mashed potatoes. I want lots of gravy on all my food. I want a green bean casserole, maybe a pumpkin pie. I like my pumpkin. I like pumpkin spice around Halloween and Thanksgiving. I mean, I don't need much else. If I get those things, I'm pretty good off. I don't need like cranberry sauce.
I was about to ask about that. Are you a cranberry sauce guy?
I don't need it necessarily, but there's nothing worse than a dry turkey. Like, just, don't even bother if the turkey's going to be dry. I guess I could smother it in gravy, but like, how disappointing.
Yeah.
That's all I want for Thanksgiving.
I don't think that's too much to ask, Greg.
I don't think so. I mean, yours is going to be terrible because you're not going to eat a real turkey.
Well, it's not terrible, but...
No, it is. Comment below if you think vegan Thanksgiving is terrible.
Yeah, or if you would rather eat a dead animal.
Okay.
This is Dean Andrew Chard. He asks, not a wrestling question, but you seen Thanksgiving? The horror film by Eli Roth is what I'm assuming he means.
No, I've seen Thanksgiving, and I plan on watching Thanksgiving again for the first time in a long time for Thanksgiving, but also the entire trilogy. There's a Thanksgiving 2 and 3 So I'm very, very excited about this. And Dean, if you've not seen Thanksgiving, you are missing out. Because there is a scene where the turkey kills a human being, takes off the face, puts it on his face, but it's clearly a human face over a small turkey, and then knocks on the door of his family, and then the family thinks that it's the dude. It is ridiculous. It is a true classic. Thanksgiving. Go out of your way to see it, please.
Eric Phillips asks, "Can I come over to eat?"
No, you can't. You do not pay me enough on Patreon to be at my house. Okay, Eric?
Okay, speaking of paying, Juan Ortiz of Juan of the Dead, since he has advertisements on the show, he gets 2 questions.
Okay, that's fair.
And he's a friend of the show.
Good buddy.
What WWF legend do you think could cook the best Thanksgiving meal, and who would make the worst?
Oh, boy. Well, for some reason I feel like Sean Stasiak would make the worst. I don't know why that was the name that popped in my head. I just feel like, ironically, the guy that was named Meat would be the worst at cooking meat. The best, though? I know some people in WWE. I gotta say, I'm pretty positive Candice LeRae could make a good Thanksgiving meal. I don't recall if I've had Thanksgiving food prepared by Candice. I will say that she's made me some baked goods. She made me a birthday cake one year, and it was probably the best birthday cake I ever had in my life. Like, at one point, Candice worked at Universal Studios as a baker.
Nice.
So, like, she was legit, okay? I feel like Gargano could make a good Thanksgiving meal. Like, he's a pretty good cook. I think that helped that he grew up with his dad, who owned a catering business.
Mm-hmm.
As far as people that I would have to guess...
In fairness, though, and I'm not trying to derail you, but Juan said WWF legend.
Legend?
Yes.
Okay, what if they're a legend in their own mind, like Gargano?
I don't know how to get into contact with Juan Ortiz quick enough to know if that's good
You know what? Ron Simmons.
There you go.
I think Ron Simmons would make a Thanksgiving meal so good, I'd have no choice but to go, damn.
I thought you were going to go, but I'd have no choice but to go, now that's a good turkey.
Okay. You remember the first time he said damn?
I don't remember the first time, to be honest with you.
Like the first time that they made it a thing. Uh-huh. So it was randomly, I think it was a segment between King Booker and someone.
Was it really in that time period? Huh.
It was like John Cena and King Booker. And John Cena, I think, insulted King Booker. King Booker was on the stage. And then Ron Simmons randomly came out, okay? Hadn't been on TV in months, maybe even a couple years. And JR is on commentary. He's like, oh my God, it's Ron Simmons. WWE legend Ron Simmons. What's he doing here? And he just looks around and grabs the mic and goes, damn, and walks off the stage. And I remember being like, bravo, this was great.
Yeah.
Like him just randomly coming out and JR popping for it, like, oh my God, what's he gonna do?
Yeah.
And then him just saying damn. But then when it became a bit, I was like, all right, well,
it got annoying.
Got played out pretty quickly. But the first time, amazing.
Yeah, that's what they say about crack.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll have to try this crack. Maybe I'll ask my mom and see how that goes for her. Oh, wait.
Good luck with that.
She's deceased. Dead.
Was it because of crack?
Crack kills.
Oh, that's what they say. That's what they mean when they say that?
Yeah, it means you die.
No, I thought they meant like it's super cool.
No. It slays.
Oh, shit.
And not in a good way.
All right, well, I got to call somebody and say, never mind. Justin Bonifield. What is it? Bonifield? JB.
It's whatever you want it to be.
We'll call him JB. What was your worst Thanksgiving ever? Book a traditional Survivor Series match on a cloud in heaven. And then in parentheses it says, dead wrestlers only.
Well, I gotta say the worst...
Well, dead wrestlers that went to heaven only.
Oh, God. Well, that's really gonna... I'm not gonna have many choices now. I would say the worst Thanksgiving was Thanksgiving Eve of 1991, where I had to watch Hulk Hogan take the pile driver from The Undertaker, and he lost the WWF Championship, because I cried because, Bobby Heenan kept saying, Hulkamania is dead. And I thought, being like a 5-year-old child, that meant Hulk Hogan himself was dead. And very traumatizing. I've told this story before, but clearly Hulk Hogan's head did not hit the steel chair at all. It's plain as day on camera. But I saw what I wanted to saw what I wanted to see.
No one was going to judge you on that one.
Yes. Well, I needed to fix that because grammar is important. Randomly, I'll tell you that the best moment in my Thanksgiving memories would be the time that my dad had his next door neighbor come over, this little drunk guy that he would always drink with. I can't remember his name. I want to say it's Ed, but I don't think that's right. I wish Zach was here to tell me. But so Zach, my brother, was like 14 or 15, and this dude would just come over and get drunk and like bully my brother, which I didn't know why my dad just kept allowing this dude over. And
what would he do?
Just like talk shit to him and stuff, like just
to
like
a
make
child?
fun of him. He's just like a little kid, right? Like 14 or 15.
That's weird.
And Zach was like kind of big, and you know now he's for sure bigger than me and my brother, and we're older, much stronger. Would not mess with Zach. And for some reason, this dude kept like just poking at my brother, and eventually like randomly smacked him in the face like hard, like just for no reason. And my brother pushed him, right? And this dude, because he was drunk, was like he just toppled over. And when he went down, like I wish I would have been recording a video when this happened, because this is right when YouTube is growing. He falls down and his head hits like the bottom like bar of a chair in our kitchen, and instantly knocks this guy out, right? And he's got a cigarette in his hand. And so my dad, without missing a beat, because he's also drunk, just leans down, picks the cigarette out of this guy's hand and is holding it, and he goes, "Hey," and he's taking his other hand and slapping him in the face like, "Wake up, wake up." Never mind that he just smacked his son in the face hard as fuck. And I remember just looking at Zach like shocked and like laughing. I'm like, "Dude, you just knocked him out.
Yeah.
I think he's dead." And he's like, "I don't care, fuck him." And he was out cold for like 5 minutes, and then when he came to, he like looked around and looked at my brother like just shocked, and then he just left. He just left.
Did you ever see him again?
I don't think, if I saw him again, it wasn't much after that. But I just remember thinking like my dad wasn't as angry as he should have been over my brother being smacked by someone that was not my dad.
Your dad should have been the one that hit him.
Yeah.
But I also was wondering did your dad smoke the rest of the cigarette?
No, he didn't. No, he just put it out. He didn't want to start a fire on his carpet. But yeah, so that's my favorite Thanksgiving memory. A Survivor Series team made up of dead wrestlers only in heaven.
No, actually, it's a whole match.
A whole match? Jeez, God Christ. Okay, you're asking for a lot here. I'm going to give you one team, and that's going to be hard enough, because my first thought was like, well, who's a good wrestler that I could put on this team that would be in heaven? And then I thought Benoit, and I was like, well, he's not in heaven. I thought there's no one else I could think of. It's just a terrible joke that I even said Chris Benoit.
That's true.
Yeah, and I hate myself for that.
I wanted it out.
Okay, you don't have to. It's going to be fine. But
I wasn't really gonna.
He's a terrible person, and if there is a hell, he's burning in it.
Maybe, what if you booked heaven versus hell? You know,
okay, so
then
Chris
the heels
Benoit,
are all in hell.
Chris Benoit, Jimmy Snuka. Who else do we have in hell for sure?
Man, why can't Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan just die, you know?
Okay, hey, come on.
You're right, there's no hell.
All right. Who else is like a murderer or a child rapist in wrestling?
Boy. I'm trying to think of all the Dark Side of the Ring episodes.
Yeah. Oh, Jake Roberts' dad, Grizzly Smith.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he's on the hell team.
Yeah.
Technically speaking, I would say if we're talking about their characters in 1991, they were in the match Made in Hell. I think you would have to round out the team with General Adnod and Colonel Mustafa, who were on the team with Sergeant Slaughter at SummerSlam 91. So I think that's a good way to go. So I'll use 2 characters who are in hell, 3 people that are actually in hell, and then my heaven team, I think I gotta go with you know what? I want to see Macho Man and Chris Benoit. I want to see Macho Man just beat the shit out of Benoit, because he loved children, did a lot for children.
But not in the way that the hell wrestlers loved children.
No.
In the good way. In the cool.
Grizzly Smith loved children in a very terrible Chris Hansen way.
Yeah. Well, Chris Hansen is a good guy.
He is. He's got a lot of riffraff off the street.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I feel like Chris Hansen could be a guest enforcer on the outside of this match.
Good idea.
I like that idea a lot. Macho Man. I'm going to say, who else would be in heaven for sure that could be on this team? I would say...
Did you put Eddie Guerrero on there?
Eddie Guerrero. Eddie Guerrero's on this team for sure. He's in heaven.
What about the Sheik? I mean, Sabu's always pointing up there, so...
Yeah, I don't know. He was pointing up there before the Sheik. I don't know him personally, so I can't say he was a bad guy. He was a bad character. I don't know if he would fit in on this team, though.
Okay, yeah,
I mean,
you're
I'm
right.
thinking of like heaven-sent baby faces, right? So we got Eddie. We got Macho Man. You know what? Bray Wyatt. A little dark, little mystery here. A little Bray Wyatt action. Two more people. I'm trying to think of like guys that we lost too soon. That
Brody Lee.
You know what? Brody's definitely on this team. And a little reunion of Bray and Brody. And fifth guy. Who do I want? Who's passed away in the last 10?
What about Owen Hart?
How could you not have Owen? Yeah, that's a good team. Owen, Eddie, great technical wrestlers. Macho Man doing a little bit of high flying and technical wrestling, and then Bray and Brody just like bring in like the muscle. You know what I mean? The mystery.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a pretty solid heaven-sent Survivor Series team.
Yeah, I'm rooting for heaven.
Well, I would hope so. I hope they do a clean sweep of the Hell team. What else do we have in the question area?
Bobby Baggs again. He's a good guy, so he gets another question.
Okay.
If you did a Patron Turkey Day meal next year, I'd cross the border for it. That's actually not a question.
That is a comment for sure.
Let me rephrase it as a question for him, okay? If you did a Patron Turkey Day meal next year, can I cross the border for it? Maybe this was a bad idea.
You know what? Yes. Yes, you
can.
may. You are invited, but Eric is not.
You have our permission into this.
Bobby, you are on Patreon, and you are a good brother. Eric, he's too busy in the gym now, okay? He doesn't care about his Patreon brethren like you do. And quite frankly, he always has a smart-ass remark for anything that I post on social media. So, Uncle Bobby, you are always welcome at my house.
All right. Adam Tucker asks, what's your favorite Survivor Series team of all time?
I don't know if I can narrow it down to just one. I did... It's going to be a controversial first pick. But I did always enjoy the Clowns Are Us from Survivor Series 1994. A lot of people say that's probably the worst match in Survivor Series history. But also, mind you, that in 1994 I was like 8 years old. So I really enjoyed those teams. We're talking Doink, Dink, Wink, and Pink, who... Pink, by the way, wore no pink, and I'm pretty sure his hair was like more of a red than pink.
I think it was a 2 in the pink, 1 in the stink sort of thing.
Okay.
That's what I thought when I was 4 or whatever.
That is unnecessary.
What year was it?
1994.
I was 4, yeah.
I would say that one of my favorite teams to go back to 1991 would be Roddy Piper, British Bulldog, Bret the Hitman Hart, and again, it was a different time. He was super over. And it made sense that he was on this team at this point, Virgil. That was a good Survivor Series team, okay? And I'm pretty sure they opposed Ric Flair, the Mountie, Ted DiBiase, and the Warlord, which is somehow also a cool team.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool team.
I mean, yeah, so I liked both of those teams. I think Razor Ramon had a good tag team at the 94 Survivor Series as well, the Bad Guys. People shit all over... because Tatanka was originally supposed to be in the team. But the 93 Survivor Series, I thought the team of Lex Luger, Undertaker, and the Steiners was pretty sweet. I know I'm going back to a lot of old teams here. Austin's team at the 2003 Survivor Series was pretty sweet with like Shawn Michaels and the Dudley Boyz and RVD, Booker T. I think that was a good team. the opposing team was good as well. Bischoff's team. You had Christian and Jericho and Randy Orton and I forget who else was in that team, but I know it came down to those three versus HBK at one point, and that's one of the best Survivor Series matches of all time. So yeah, I can't pick a favorite, but those are some of the ones that come to mind for me.
Anthony Rebus. Oh man. Okay.
Rebus.
Anthony Rebus Philbin, as we call him, asks, worst Survivor Series match, favorite Thanksgiving side.
I mean, the worst Survivor Series match has to be when they did 4-on-1, which was like 2 minutes long. The '99 Survivor Series. It was Big Show versus like Midian, Albert, Viscera, and I'm forgetting someone. But it's crazy that A, this match was on pay-per-view. B, that after Big Boss Man lost, his team of 4 lost to a team of 1. Boss Man got a title shot the next month against Big Show. Also, go back and look at Midian's gear on the show. He looked like a backyard wrestler. I mean, he had like the worst face paint I've ever seen on a grown man. And he was wearing like a tank top and just an airbrush pair of pants that said Midian. Like, it's fucking bad.
Is that your least favorite Midian gear?
Yes. I mean, I preferred when he was naked Midian.
Really?
Like fanny pack. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I wish they would have went farther with naked Midian.
I think he could have been the champion in 2-3 years if they would have gave him a shot.
At least the European champion during that time. So.
That makes sense. I know what they do over there.
Yep.
Cole Dawson. Wait, did you say favorite Thanksgiving side?
What was it?
Your favorite Thanksgiving side?
Stuffing with gravy.
That's a good choice.
I'm plain. I'm very plain.
Stuffing is good.
Yeah. Carb me up.
Cole Dawson says, what's the greatest Survivor Series debut of all time, and why is it gobbledygooker?
It's not gobbledygooker. It's clearly The Undertaker. Okay? But Scott Steiner had a good Survivor Series debut if you count his re-debut at the 2002 Survivor Series when he came out and he beat up Matt Hardy and Chris Nowinski, and then he audibly says, "Give me a fucking mic." Classic Scott Steiner. Okay? I don't have a problem with that. I feel like there's another Survivor Series debut that I'm not thinking of that was pretty iconic. I mean, I honestly don't think you top Undertaker.
Yeah.
Clearly. But, yeah, those are my choices.
Okay, that was his fake question. Now here's his real question.
Oh, wow.
So Cole Dawson again. Real question, is it time to replace the Survivor Series pay-per-view? Everyone seems to have lost interest. They don't do Survivor Series matches very often, and even when they do, it doesn't seem to be a big deal. Side question. Maybe I should wait for the side question.
Okay, yeah, let's wait for that. So I don't think they should get rid of Survivor Series. I think it's a staple. I do think they've reinvigorated it by putting War Games in it. But also, I think that there is room. I think you should do one War Games match. I think it's a little forced when you do the men's and women's War Game. It's better booked than it's been in the past with Vince because it just seems like somehow they just force these matches when it's time for a theme pay-per-view. Like, I'm so glad Triple H got rid of like Hell in a Cell and stuff like that. But I do think there's room for one War Games match on a Survivor Series and one traditional Survivor Series match. And then you just kind of go outside the box with everything else.
I like that. Side question, how do you feel about booking to a gimmick pay-per-view like Money in the Bank, Elimination Chamber, War Games, etc., as opposed to using gimmick matches when a story organically takes us there?
I think I kind of just answered that, right?
Yeah,
it's like I feel like it's just kind of forced. Like, I think it doesn't have, going back to the Hell in a Cell example, like, it has so much more so much less meaning when you just book a Hell in a Cell match because it's time for Hell in a Cell. You know, like I'm trying to remember specifically, like, I don't know, like, I think, like, at one point, like, Mark Henry and Randy Orton had one match, and then because it was Hell in a Cell next month, it was like, all right, time for Hell in a Cell, Mark Henry and Randy Orton. It's like, why? Also, right. Like, with Hell in a Cell specifically, like, it's so hard to create those emotional moments with that match, which should be the be-all, end-all match, because you don't do blood anymore. The only or most recent example of Hell in a Cell working would be Cody and Seth Rollins, because Cody had a legitimate visible injury that made it awe-inspiring, right?
Yeah.
I think to go back to a match before that had any meaning inside of the cell, you'd probably have to go back to Undertaker and Triple H, because they had built to that essentially for 4 years at WrestleMania with the Shawn Michaels matches and the Triple H matches. So yeah, like you got to build these things with me. You can't just do it because well, it's that time of the year. That only works for certain things. Like I feel like you can kind of do that with War Games now, and I feel like you'll always be able to do it with Royal Rumble because it sets up WrestleMania. Money in the Bank too, you know, but like if it's a match that needs like a grudge going into it, you can't just do a pay-per-view and go like, okay, it's time for this specific match. Like, but I don't know if they did like WWE Buried Alive, like it'd be weird that they did that. Like time for the traditional Buried Alive match for no reason whatsoever. Like what?
Yeah, that wouldn't be good. Or if it was WWE Boiler Room Brawl.
Yeah, like
every match was a Boiler Room Brawl.
Well, that's just as bad as like when they did Lockdown, where every match was in a cage.
I was just about to bring
TNA.
that up. I actually liked it back then.
See,
I mean, I was like, wow, every match is a cage. This is different than what I'm used
how
to.
old were you?
15.
Okay, because I used to do a pay-per-view on WrestleMania 2000 that I created for my N64 called WWF Rage in the Cage, which I basically just stole the name from the old Rage in the Cage game for like the Sega CD, and I would do every match inside a steel cage. So this is right before Lockdown, and I'm just like, dude, I wish they would do every match on pay-per-view in a cage.
Right.
And then Lockdown became a thing.
You looked at your cartridge and you were like, how did they know?
Yeah. But then when it became a thing, I was like, oh, this actually kind of sucks, because you watch like 2 cage matches, you're like, sweet, and then you're like match 3 and you're like,
true,
running out of stuff to do in a cage. I see.
I remember vividly though AJ Styles versus Abyss being a very good Lockdown steel cage match.
Yeah, it's like I think Kurt Angle and Mr. Kennedy or Ken Anderson did a great cage match, you know, at Lockdown. There have been good matches, but it's like they get lost and forgotten when the 7 or 8 other matches on the show are also in the cage.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna have another name I can't pronounce. Okay.
Yeah.
Peter Antonsick.
Peter from Patreon. We'll go with that. Hi, Peter.
Okay. Now before he's actually not asking a question.
Okay.
I'm just gonna say his first name then. Okay. So Eric Phillips says, "Can Bobby Bags, Peter from Patreon, and me come over to eat? We can bring the Sheets Mac Bites."
Well, if you're listening to this on Wednesday evening when this drops, you only have a few hours to get here. But if you bring several cups of the Sheets Mac and Cheese Bites, then yes, you are invited. I'm all in. That's fine.
Just so for the listeners and the viewers at home, anytime somebody wants to come into your home, if they have Sheets Mac Bites, that is a way to get in. You're all right with that? Anybody?
I'm ashamed to say that yes, that that is the way to my heart. You will convince me to do anything.
Well,
anything with Sheets Mac and Cheese Bites. Yep.
Michael Kinch says, what Survivor Series match were you most surprised about the outcome? For me, it was when Hogan's team lost at the first one.
Oh boy, that is surprising, but I think they needed to give Andre's win back at that Survivor Series so they could set up for the third match inside the steel cage that they did, I think, at WrestleFest in '88. WrestleMania 4 was just another match in the whole thing that didn't really, it mattered, but you know, I think they were trying to set it up to be a trilogy. Anyways, surprising, you know what, it's not one match specifically, but Randy Orton has a pretty flawless record at Survivor Series. In fact, like the fact that he was the sole survivor for 3 years in a row, that's kind of crazy. Like I went to Survivor Series in 2004 because it was in Cleveland. I knew the year before he was the sole survivor. I was like, wow, if he did this 2 years in a row, what feat. Right. And then he did.
Three in a row is a turkey.
Yeah, that's very true. And at the 2005 Survivor Series in the main event, he was the sole survivor as well. But also, it worked out that it just aligned storyline-wise because he had taken out The Undertaker. The Undertaker made his return in like a flaming casket standing up at the end of the show to confront Randy Orton to set up their I believe their Hell in a Cell match that was happening in a couple months or in a month at Armageddon. And so it made perfect sense. Rare moment where Undertaker brought back a full beard for a little bit too. I like the Undertaker with a beard. And yeah, I think that's probably one of the more surprising Survivor Series moments for me. Randy Orton, sole survivor 3 years straight.
All right, and then Colin Hunter says, what wrestling experience are you most thankful for? What about non-wrestling?
You know what? If we're talking about just in the last year, I'm thankful within wrestling. Just the promoters that have still stuck by me, have had my back, and still have faith in me, despite me taking some time off, taking a step back. I don't know. Sometimes I question my own ability as a performer, and there's been quite a few guys within wrestling that run shows that still see viability in Gregory Iron, which I appreciate. And just little stuff like this past weekend, you know, winning this cup, working with Chris Masters and him being a joy to work with. I don't know. It restores my faith not only in wrestling but in humanity, that there are like good dudes out there that see how hard you work and the passion. You know, sometimes you feel like, you know, no one sees how you're busting your ass and how much effort you're putting into it. But, you know, I think the real ones see. And sometimes you just got to take time to give thanks to those people that see you as a priority sometimes. And I think outside of wrestling, you know, I'm just thankful for the friendships that I continue to have. And more so now than ever, I don't know, I'm thankful that I'm able to give back to those friends. I feel like it's been a long time coming for me to be able to, I don't know, be in a position where I feel like I could show them thanks, which I know this is not the most important thing in the world, but, you know, I've been buying Christmas presents since June. so I didn't have to worry about Black Friday and stuff, just because I'll see some deals during the year and I'm like, you know what? Instead of going like, well, I hope they have this deal in November, I'm just going to buy this now and be prepared. And I just want to be able to show my appreciation to people by giving them things that genuinely surprise them, make their eyes light up, like, oh boy, you really went out of your way for this one, Greg. It's like, these people have gone out of their way for me for years, whether they think they have or not. To me, they have. And it's people like that in my life that have motivated me to keep going, because I've got to do good for them. And I hope you have people in your life that help you want to be a better person and do that type of good. I think that's what makes the world go around. It's like when we're struggling, we got those people in our lives that lift us up. And I know I'm thankful for that, and I hope that you can at least appreciate that too. Even if you're going through a rough patch right now during the holiday season, just know that, you know, there are people in this world that, whether you think it or not, whether they say it every day, there are people out there that love you and care about you more than you realize. So take time to be thankful for them and stick around for them, because I promise you, even though it's dark right now, it's going to get better. You just got to stick around. That's my rambling about that.
Wow, Greg Iron, a man with a name that hard, but he's such a softie.
Okay, well, let's take one more commercial break. When we come back, we were going to run down the Survivor Series card, but I don't think we need to do that.
No, we can just talk about it next week.
We'll talk about it next week after the pay-per-view goes down. We'll take a commercial break, and when we come back, we will close out the show. I hope you're not teary-eyed after that big rambling there. Is that a tear in your eye, Sean?
No.
Okay, all right. Someone get this man a Kleenex.
I'm the producer. I've got to do it.
All right.
Sir, hello. Dude, they work on guy.
What are you doing? Why are you acting like Race Ramon with his bad form in the Ico Pro commercial?
You talking to me, man? Carve you up.
Talk like a normal person.
Oh, I'm here because I'm working out. Oh, from TNT Health, baby. Have you tried it?
We know that Aaron's tried it.
In fact, since the start of the year, Aaron's lost over 50 pounds while using supplements from TNT-Health.com. TNT Health is focused on your overall comprehensive health. They help track your eating, your workouts, and your supplements. TNT Health sells results. I use the creatine, the glutamine, and do you think that I'm not using the protein powder? With 154 calories and 25 grams of protein per scoop, I assure you, the vanilla protein powder is great with or without water.
That's how you take your protein. Don't you... Water, dude.
You know, maybe Aaron's right. Use it with water or milk. Go to TNT-Health.com right now, buy any of their great products and save 10% off with our promo code IRONON.
TNT Health.
Your health today,
not tomorrow.
Well, that's it for this edition of Iron on Wrestling. During the break, I ate half of a rotisserie chicken. I wish I was lying about that.
It was interesting because he just put his mouth by the chicken and just went sucked it up. He's good at sucking.
Yeah, and it was crazy. The whole time, I just heard Sean drooling, saying, God, I wish I could eat meat again. And I'm a pansy.
That sound that you heard of dripping was actually not drool.
Okay. That's disgusting. But make sure you go and subscribe to us over on Patreon. You can go to the free tier, because that's where the audio podcast is going to be starting in 2 weeks. No more iTunes. No more Spotify. So you better fucking do it.
Yeah, God damn it.
Or you can go to the paid tier. $3 gets you in the door. $5 you get video. $9 you get involved in Zoom chats. You get to ask questions before anybody. You get to pick podcast subjects. Your name is going to be at the end of these videos that we're making for YouTube. It's going to be great. Patreon.com/Iron on Wrestling. Make sure you follow us on social media at Iron on Wrestling. You can follow me on social media. I'm Gregory Iron on Twitter, or the X as the kids call it. Gregory_Iron on Instagram, or the Gram as the kids call it. Facebook.com/The Handicapped Hero. They just call it Facebook because mostly old people are on it. You can DM me for pro wrestling, motivational speaking, or pro wrestling seminars. I'll actually be doing one in about 3 weeks in the Hamilton, Ontario, Canada area. That'll be for Top Tier Wrestling, so check them out on social media. Sign up for my seminar if you would like. It's only $30 Canadian. So that means it's like, what, $5 total? Not shooting on Canada. I love Canada. I'm joking. ProWrestlingTees.com/Gregory Iron, where you can get my shirts, Aaron shirts, which supports Aaron while he recovers from his leg injury. Iron on Wrestling shirts are also over there. Shirts that will never be printed again. Check them out. ProWrestlingTees.com/Gregory Iron. Cameo. Search Gregory Iron. I'll give you a shout out for the holiday season. Anything you want. Or do you want me to make someone's holiday miserable? I could do that too. I'm a man of many trades, okay? So just check me out. Help me out. Sean, what would you like to plug?
I mean, you could follow me on Instagram. It's Flash.
They
period.
won't.
I know. No one's... Listen, I said this last week. I haven't gotten a single new follower.
Oh, that's...
Well, I did, but I don't think it was related to this.
Okay, let's just pretend it was, because you're making it seem like no one listens to the show.
No, I think no one just gives a shit about me, which I understand.
I don't think you're that bad of a guy. You know what, Sean?
I'm not that bad of a guy.
I'll tell you something.
All right, tell me.
I didn't want to say this publicly, but it's Thanksgiving Eve, and I am thankful for you.
Oh, my goodness. Get out of town.
Yeah. I'm also thankful for the Soul Taker. He's not here this year. It's the first year we have had the Soul Taker on, but make sure you listen to the old Soul Taker podcast in the archive. He goes by another name. Sean, can you say that name for me?
You know I can't.
I don't think anybody on the show can, technically.
No. And not only can't I don't want to.
I don't want to either.
Yeah.
So let's just close this
with
a nice hearty thanks and a kiss goodbye. Gobble, 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 gobble. You could stop.
That was okay.